to a Scandinavian folk tale. Should be the last song in your book. Okay, we're just going to do a dry run through, see where we are with the piece. I'm going to give you a measure for free. We're in 3, and then conduct you through it. Now, through most of the whole thing, we were very blaring, very like blah. I kind of wanted more mezzo forte sound, kind of more pulled back. And then when we get to the forte sections, I'll give you a bigger gesture. I didn't see pretty much any eyes, except for one moment with the brass section. But I'd like to get you guys a little bit more out of the score, and then watch me for dynamic cues. And that's pretty much it. I just want to go through another run through, and then so we go from there. So I'll give you 3, and then we'll end 3. Wait for Dylan. 1, 2. Back a little bit. But the effect I want is the forte, and then once the brass drops, I want to bring the dynamic down a whole bunch, so just a surprise that now we have a softer texture. So let's take it from 13, pick up to 13. So trumpets and flute will give me the pickup, so 2, and then I'll breathe on 2 immediately. Yes, 13. But there are still moments where I want to fix things and experiment a little bit. There's the beginning section, the first 4 measures, and that also appears again later in the piece, but at 65. And we have the low brass holding chords, and then the clarinet does their arpeggiated pattern. I want to try swelling on that and then bringing it back. So I'll show you that with my gesture. So let's take it from the beginning, and then I'll model for you. So 3 of them, you're in. Trombones. I'm sorry?
Where are you talking?
The beginning, the very beginning. Very linear. Just continue.
have 30 seconds.
Oh, okay. I'm good.
All right, thanks, Mike. Comments from Michael?
I really liked it. I like your presence, and I like kind of just having a conversation with us. Is how it seems throughout the whole thing. And yeah, there's a few points like through the fermata, maybe not just like beating through it and just kind of showing something with the fermata at the very end. And the first time we did a run through, you said 3, and then you were in, you just went right into it. Maybe just give like a quick scan across. And there was something really nice when after one of the run-throughs, you gave 2 compliments, and then on the third, it was like it just like flowed very well. Like a grouping of 3 said, "You did this very well. You did this very well." And both of those were specifics. And then when you went to something that you fixed, it was something very general. So maybe just like pairing that with something specific to fix, because it flowed very nicely. It just sounded very nice to hear it in that grouping.
I really like that we got to play through the piece a lot. I thought that was a good plan. You had play through, a couple comments, play through, maybe stopping every now and then for another comment or 2. But we got to like actually hear a bunch of full versions of the song, which a lot of times it doesn't end up happening in a rehearsal setting. So I thought that was really good. I watched some of the language. I'm sure you'll see in your video. Watch the kind ofs and the sort ofs and the maybes and the a little bit like things, right? Be like a little bit more decisive in your language choices. But
Yeah, I agree with Jay. I really liked how we ran it through. Then you critiqued us. You said this, and this time. And we got to run through it again. My only criticism is when you're conducting, I think make your gestures more obvious, more apparent. Because I think sometimes your elbows are staying too close to your body. There was one point you looked at the trumpets to cue them in, but you looked at them, which was great, but you didn't gesture them in. So maybe connecting the gesture with the eye contact will help.
Yeah, just like everyone else, I like that we did a lot of playing because it's a good thing to keep everyone engaged. But there was a lot of playing, but there was also, for me personally, just a little too much talking. Just need to find that good balance of all right, here's where I would model instead of just explaining word for word exactly what I want. Maybe just try a little bit more modeling. But that's about it.
Yeah, I really liked the general lesson you had, especially when we started to work with the phrasing and emotiveness at the beginning. I really like how you moved into that. But to bounce off what Maria said, I noticed you were like, I want it this way, and you sort of did it, but because your arms were in when you were conducting, it was like a really small gesture, and I feel like you could just embody that totally. And then there was another thing at the end, you were telling us to all be quiet so we could hear whatever it was, but the hand was right here. So I was like, is he holding his hand, or is he telling us to be quieter? So just a little bigger with your gesture, and I think you would get a lot more sound with a lot less telling us. But otherwise, yeah, really, really good.
At one point, you were telling everyone to play with more dynamics, and you were conducting, and you were telling everyone with your words while you were conducting, okay, let's be quieter, or let's, I just thought you could put more of that into your gesture and show what you were looking for.
I agree with Mary, and I think your conducting could have been more stylistic. I saw beat, 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 black, 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 and especially your last cutoff, it was really out of character to the piece. I saw this, and I think it would encourage a tongue release in a young setting, and you want to encourage that breath release.
So I'm not thinking anybody's covered this. What I did like about your conducting was you had really good eye contact. I mean, even if you didn't give full, I could tell you did have a gesture, it was this. And I was like, wow, that's subtle. Sometimes that works, but sometimes it doesn't. But you had really great eye contact, and when you asked us for eye contact, I thought that was really good because you were asking us for something that you were doing. You say, I was looking at you guys, but you weren't looking back at me. Ruben's covered everything else as far as gesturing. At some point, when you're asking us for dynamics, if we're not giving them to you, then you have to start instructing us almost like a private teacher from the podium. How do I play softer? How do I play louder on my instrument? What do I need to do to make that effect happen? That's
and you can do that, Michael, through a little bit of back and forth trial and error. Ask, isolate a particular section of the band and just ask them to play it softer. And if they play it softer, then great. If they don't, then you need to go to the next step, which is offering them some specific technical advice, right? So you can engage a sort of a musical conversation in that way to see what they're giving you right now, and then continue to offer them some prompts for it. Okay. One other comment I'd like to make about the conducting in a general sense is that how many of you actually in here have ever played for or seen or heard a conductor that really truly just kind of looked like they were dancing to the music, that they were just dancing up there, right? And sometimes that can be a bad thing. I mean, sometimes it's a little ridiculous or awkward. But for the most part, what happens when a conductor is dancing is that they are moving to the style of the music, right? We hope. And what's really happening is not so much, it's not one or the other. In other words, it's not that I'm conducting and you are following what I'm doing and therefore creating good style, or that you are playing great style and I'm just responding to it by dancing. But in fact, it's a cyclical process, right? As I give you some gestures, you get inspired by those and play, and as you play, that inspires me to continue to move, or to move more so in the style that it is. And so there's this constant sort of cycle that's happening between conductor and players, or conductor and singers, right? And we want to make sure that we don't let down our part of the bargain in that cycle, all right? So what the specifics that people have given you in some of the comments here, Michael, is that I think your body and your hands were not necessarily showing what you wanted to happen with the style. And sometimes they were actually giving you the style pretty well, but you need to make sure that you respond to that and then therefore continue to lead it and continue to participate in that cycle. I've alluded to this a couple times throughout this round too, but I want everybody to take me up on this. Watch your video back and turn off the sound and just see if you are really conducting what you think you're conducting. See if you're really inspiring people to create the sort of sound that you're expecting to hear. And a lot of times you'll find that you're not. Okay, I'm not just talking to Michael now, all of us, to look back at that in silence and just see if you're really showing it. Okay? I would agree with Ryan that you did a nice job of going back. It was after the first time through that I noticed it anyway, that the second time they played through it, you said, great, you guys really, I saw a lot more eye contact from you that time, which was great. You gave them positives, things that you were following up on, and then you still had some suggestions for improvement. Really important, both sides of the feedback coin there. That was nice to see. One of the strongest parts of this whole lesson, Michael, was the very, very, very beginning. And you said, we're going to be working with a Scandinavian folktale, everyone, so let's pull that up. And that's all you said. And then you just continued to look around the room as people did that. And you'll see on your video that you had an air of expectancy. That you simply were looking around expecting that everyone was going to get their part up and get ready to go. And that speaks volumes. A lot of teachers don't do that. A lot of teachers will make that direction and then they sort of talk to themselves and get distracted by all sorts of other things and shuffle their paperwork and do all sorts of other stuff, rather than actually looking at the students and expecting that what they just spoke is actually going to happen. There is an enormous amount of progress to be had. Easy does it, Laura. Enormous amount of progress to be had by simply setting up your atmosphere to be one in which your words they get carried out quickly and easily and effectively and purposefully. And that was a great example of it. That's a keeper. All right, hang on to that. Anything else for Michael? Thanks, Michael. Folks, we're on Monday. We are on to Josh.